Scott Bessent says an independent Alberta would be a natural partner for the US. First, let's see what Scott Bessent has been saying recently. This is something I think that we don't talk about enough, or we don't give enough weight to, how powerful sanctions are. Now, I'm not the smartest person in the room, but at the very least, I know if you create economic difficulty, instability, it leads to depravity, division, it leads to more crime. And it destabilizes communities piece by piece, city by city, family by family. Economic warfare is incredibly powerful, to say the least, without considering other effects it has on people, families, communities. And again, Carney made a great speech at Davos. It potentially marks a shift in history, a shift in American hegemony, a shift in this multipolar world that's being birthed right now. And people tell me, Larry, don't be scared. Well, I'm not trying to let fear overtake me, but my thought is, what kind of pressure can and will be applied by the Americans to Canadians in the coming weeks, months? And how should we as Canadians respond to that? What should be our attitude? What is the best for all Canadians on a utilitarian level? What produces the most good? Canadians, at the very least, and I'm not trying to lecture, I'm telling this to myself, we got to talk more. We got to organize more. We got to have a bit more heart for each other, give a bit more room for misunderstanding. Talk about these things that we say is rude. You know, you can't talk about politics, it's rude. You can't talk about how much money you make amongst coworkers. Well, I really think coworkers should talk about how much they make. Anyways, that's a different thing. And we have Trump making some very aggressive remarks as usual, and we have Chen Weihua below him giving some nice response as usual too. Chen Weihua is a funny commentator and political expert, and he's been involved in the international commenting of geopolitics for a long time. And in the Twitter is kind of like a coliseum, and it's he's always giving some sharp retorts. And when people can't defeat him in arguments, they complain about his behavior. They say, as an expert, you should be more cordial. But Chen has had enough, so he just shoots from the hip, gives it to you straight. Trump is set to meet Xi Jinping in April, and all these comments that Trump is making, China is paying close attention. But because of the economic and military weight that America brings, China will take America very seriously at the diplomatic table. And as always, diplomatic power hinges on that you have real power in the physical world, in the economic world, in the military world. That's why when they talk about middle powers not being at the table, you're on the menu. Taiwan is considered a middle power, but Taiwan is facing incredibly heavy pressure to keep transferring technology and labor to America, Arizona. TSMC, Taiwan Semiconductor deity company. TSMC is said to be the reason why Taiwan has a bit of leverage in the globe, why Taiwan has been a hot topic for the last decades. TSMC was built by the hard work of at least 3 generations from the Kuomintang. Some people say the KMT is just Chinese fascists, but after Chiang Kai-shek came Jiang Jingguo, and they did a lot of work to make Taiwan better after Japanese colonization and all that stuff. But this semiconductor thing is not so easy, and finding suitable labor has been a challenge in America. Not only is it highly skilled work, highly intelligent engineering, it is also incredibly physically demanding. 10, 12-hour, 14-hour shifts, always on call, difficult, stoic, austere conditions. And highly skilled engineers in America might feel, why should I go work so hard and bust my hump when I can get paid more doing something else? But the entire semiconductor landscape will change greatly in the next 10 years. America did everything it could to contain and slow down semiconductor iteration and evolution in China, but it could not be stopped. Huawei was brought to its knees, but it rose. It's that story is quite complicated, and you can frame it as stolen technology, but it's much more to that. This world, everything is borrowed. And I'm not saying that to be like to excuse anything, but everything is cyclical, everything is borrowed, and I do believe humans all have potential. But when it comes to the grit and determination of the Chinese who just came out of this century of humiliation, they're on another program. As a Western trained Asian person, I know that I did not have to work as hard to get through school and university here in the West, in Canada. Chinese universities, incredibly competitive and difficult. 内卷, the pressure that Chinese give to themselves, even even in Taiwan, it's a very very different life to compete through the education system and enter the workforce. This 250 billion to 500 billion investment that the US is asking Taiwan to make into TSMC Arizona. That money is just so huge for Taiwan, especially Taiwanese people. I'm thinking about the people who work at the night market, grinding every day, making delicious food. Life in Taiwan is a grind. People work very hard, long hours, and wage, average house pricing 15 times medium wage to buy a house. So the amount of money going overseas, it's hard to watch. And, the line coming out of America was, well, why should Taiwan do this? Well, the representative from America said, well, Taiwan should keep America happy. America is Taiwan's security guarantor. We protect you, so you should keep us happy. You don't want us to be in a bad mood. When it comes to foreign policy, when a smaller power or a medium power is facing a great power, sometimes there's just not much say, not much wiggle room. That's why the pro reunification camp, even though we're smaller, will say things like, under the protection of mainland China, Taiwan wouldn't have to face these pressures. And Taiwan would have better roads, better infrastructure, better social services. And people would say, well, you would lose your freedom of speech. But my first thought is freedom without guardrails is chaos in society. And I used to think China's firewall was to just oppress speech, but it's also to defend against misinformation from foreign powers that might want to cause division in your society. And it's not illegal for a Chinese person to grab a VPN and hop over the firewall. And I see Chinese people criticizing Xi Jinping all the time. Whereas Taiwanese people right now criticizing the DPP president, a lot of people are not willing to do it. A lot of people will put on a mask and hide their identity. 查水表, someone might come and look into your water bill, look into your business, and apply pressure somehow. That is what is said in Taiwan. So again, thank you very much for your kind attention. I hope you have a great day. Join my Discord if you want to get my meditation book or course for free. I'm very interested to make community and make new friends and organize a place where we can all feel great. Talk about everything, but not be judged, but also have a sense of decorum and respect for everyone.